You're giving me goosebumps, buddy.
Damn! To put your boy on the block?
It's the best day in the BBCAN house, quite frankly.
Well, look who's on the block now. You killed the alliance, Kyle.
Yes, that's right. We just finished watching episode 10, well, a few hours ago at least, from week 4 here in the Big Brother Canada 10 house. We are here breaking this episode down here on Super Mario Brothers Podcasting a little bit late, actually, on Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022. I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader and co-host Jaemeel Robinson to talk about this episode and the current state of affairs here in BBCAN 10. As we saw tonight, the savage betrayal of Gino renomming his boy Kyle, his ride or die, up here tonight, up against Jess, as Marty takes himself off the block. He was very disrespected. He was hurt as a man.
Right here. That's where it was
Right
hurt.
here. He was hurt. It sucks to suck, Gino, according to Marty's daughter. And yeah, there's I think some emotional moments. We talked about this in the spoilers the other night, guys. We knew that this was coming with Marty going to come down, and then ultimately Kyle goes up, because I was kind of excited in the Monday episode. I was like, wow, we're going to see, like Gino and Kyle maybe have to be like their backs against the wall here. They might have to win out for a few weeks until they can eliminate some big targets. Maybe they'll have to put their backs against the wall. I don't think that, okay, I know Jaemeel, you and I disagreed about this the other night, and I think we still will disagree. But I think that Gino could have gone a different way with this. I think this is the easy way out to go with the house. And Jane and I are watching this tonight. She's like, why is it always like what the house wants, the house consensus? The HOH can push what they want a little bit too. Like sometimes we see it go too far the other way where there's HOH-itis. This is maybe a little bit too much of the group think where the house is kind of dictating things, and what is good play and what's bad play. Anyway, how are you doing tonight, Jaemeel?
I'm all right. Just all right.
How would you like to respond to my statement?
I disagree.
Okay.
There isn't anything like what details that need to be provided. It's not like why is everyone doing what the house wants? This is the dude tanked his game. The dude ultimately tanked his game, and you're trying to rebuild your game, right? In that case, you do what the house wants, so that you are seen as a party that's malleable, that you can work with, right? You don't want to be looked at as a person, exactly what Gino did the logic. They're going to put up myself and Kyle up on the block together, and if he goes down, I'm gone. I don't want to be a hostage in this situation, so I'm going to shoot the person. I'm going to shoot Kyle, and I get away scot-free.
It's betrayal.
It isn't betrayal. Kyle betrayed him last week.
Did he betray him, though?
Yes, he did. He betrayed him by screwing up the game so badly.
What was so bad about what he did?
He put up members of his own alliance. He broke up his supposed surefire alliance. The entire house in a game of Big Brother where it's so rare that the house kind of it's not rare that the house votes together. In this game where it seems that there's more like everyone's malleable and going back and forth, when everyone in the house agrees about how badly someone was HOH, that's something you have to take notice of.
Because he targeted Josh?
He didn't just target Josh. He targeted Moose and Stephanie, both in his alliance, and then Josh, also in his alliance.
So, Jeff, we haven't really gone to you yet here. Kyle, I think, is maybe the question of the hour. Are you think that him going up tonight is exactly what he deserved to get, and there was nothing? How could anything else happen? Or do you think that this is maybe just the house is being, I don't know, something?
I think it's kind of interesting that my boy Marty is the one that convinces, our boy here to go up on the block after he was the one who convinced the East Coaster Kyle to put up Josh in the first place. Yes, he's. I think. All right, you want to go after Moose, fine, but I think going after Stephanie was his big mistake last week. Like he should have put up Moose and someone else that wasn't in the alliance if he really just wanted to go after Moose. Which it seems like to be his thing. So I think that was his mistake. But at the same, at the same time, Jameel's right. He was in a big alliance, and you're supposed to ride that big alliance because it's safe and it makes sense and strength in numbers and makes the game simple, right? Yeah. Whereas now the game is complicated, right?
Unless you play like Kyle, I welcome him.
As an audience member, I agree with you, Dave.
Yes,
100%.
As an audience member, yes, Kyle is great. I'm sad that Kyle's gone. Also for my draft, but at the same time,
he actually voted. They still have to go through the process.
I can't blame Gino.
I think Gino also kind of did him a solid by not putting him on the block for the veto. Before the veto,
Gino was trying to stick by him for as long as he could. Yeah. Right. And he's like, I can't hold on to you anymore. It's just too hard because everyone's against it. And ultimately. Because earlier in the episode, he's talking about if somebody comes down, if Jess or Marty come down, then I'm either going to put him with Betty or Tynesha. Those were his backups. Right. And so ultimately he doesn't go with either of those. He chooses to put, and I don't know if that will get back, right? Because now he'll put up Kyle. Let's say Kyle goes. He's technically put two other people up, Marty and Jess, and he's talked about two other people, because if that ever gets back to Tynesha, which it seemed to in this episode, it seemed to be very much in Tynesha's mind that she was a definite renom possibility, which seems very likely. And Betty seems to be on everybody's lips when you're talking about who you could put on the block, because nobody has ties to her, any promises or anything, loyalty for her. So she's an easy option if you're just looking for somebody to put up.
Yeah, but which means she'll probably go to the final six. You know what I mean? I just think here with this season, like with Gino, I think Marty was right, but I gotta say, I'm cheering for Marty. And I really like Marty, and he wins the veto tonight. But in a lot of ways, he really did Kyle dirty. I mean, and then there was the whole thing here
and Gino, for that matter, right?
Well, that was the whole cleanup he did this episode. But he basically really should apologize to Kyle.
Was Marty right to be so indignant, Jeff, about what Gino's speech? Was his reaction fair?
Not really, but it made good TV. I think he should have been a lot more reserved. I think Gino's seems like a pretty reasonable, calm guy that you can reason with, and he's not overly eccentric, and he's very straightforward. He'll come tell you he's putting on the block. I actually kind of respect his gameplay quite a bit. But at the same time, it's just Marty's gameplay is all over the place. I really like him, but man, you go after Josh this week, and then you're telling, you don't even try to protect Kyle, even though you're kind of the reason that Kyle's in this predicament, at least partially, maybe not 100%, but partially, he's a big reason Kyle's in the predicament he's in. And
did Kyle make all his decisions in a vacuum, and Gino and Marty didn't have any influence on what he did? Of course, that's what happened.
Yeah. Right? Jaemeel, I just think Kyle, yes, he's responsible, I think, for the Moose Stephanie fight. Okay, so that part of it, I agree. But absolutely. The whole putting Josh up was pretty much Marty's doing.
Kyle makes his own decisions, though, at the same time.
Sure, but that was his alliance. It was him, Gino, and Marty. That was, in his mind, that was the alliance.
That was that he wanted to be loyal to.
Right. Yeah.
More than the 7.
Yeah, the 7 I think was just a shield, for at least I think those 3 guys in their mind. But Kyle didn't use the shield, whereas Gino wanted to use the shield.
I think that the 7 meant different things to different members of that 7. I think to Kyle it didn't mean all that much. I think he's like, well, yeah, we're in the 7, and I got Gino, and was Marty in the 7? I can't remember. I don't think so.
No, he wasn't.
But at least he had Gino. He's like, Gino's really, and then I'm kind of with Marty too. But on the other hand, you had Herman, who completely believed in the 7. He was devout. Lord. So was Summer.
He was thinking about tattoos.
Yes.
Yeah. He was getting ready. He was gonna be the thing. He was gonna be remember the Savage 7?
Jessica, what happens? What would you think would be a good looking 7 tattoo? I want you to start thinking about it. No pressure. What is this about? Is this alliance? No. Don't worry about it. But just something like this, so that we can point to it. I mean, I can point to it. Like I could just see Herman doing that, like just be so like so out of his mind that he would just completely ignore the fact that people would figure out that there's a 7-person alliance. Going back to what you said about Gino and Marty's conversation.
And his whole reaction tonight. Yeah.
Marty was right to tell Gino that he didn't appreciate what Gino said, right? And if Gino did want to actually say it, which makes sense for optics to give people the illusion that if you come after me, this is what happens, or you betray me in some way, this is what happens. Sure, he's absolutely fine. But if you want to continue working with Marty, he should have did what Marty asked, which was, hey, dude, I'm putting you up on the block. I'm giving you the heads up. I'm going to put on a show, so don't take it personally.
Yeah.
He could have easily said that.
I agreed with Marty on that point. Absolutely. Yeah. Like Marty's like, this, that would be the right way to do it. You know, because Marty knew he was going up, but like to have sort of like, I'm going to have to say because for my optics and I got to make sure that this whole thing of you flipping on our vote and whatever. I'm trying to do damage control here, man, more than anything. So I think you could sell that concept to Marty in advance. But I also think that Marty's like reaction and you know that he was so upset. He's like, you said backstab, you said, you know, like whatever, man.
My
like
friends,
get over yourself.
my coworkers, no one's gonna look like
in front of all of Canada. Like it's always amazing to me in all of Big Brother, the things they think are important, like what they think that like these ceremonies and what's said at these ceremonies are what matters. Everything matters, people. Like anything can be on the show, and therefore, like you don't know what the audience is going to latch on to. It's not necessarily going to be your speech when you nominated somebody. It's more like the conversation you had before the ceremony happened is how people are going to really react.
Just
to
imagine he's at a job interview. He's like, "Are you Marty from Big Brother 10? I'm sorry, we can't hire you. I heard that you were a backstabber." And that's like they start quoting Gino's speech.
According to Steven Giannopoulos, backstabber and did me dirty.
I can't, yeah, you did me dirty. I can't have you part of our organization.
No
He's
doing
like,
dirty.
That Gino speech is still ruining my life. He becomes a beggar on the streets. He's like, what you done to me, Gino?
How could you do it, Gino? We were boys. We were French Connection. Remember?
It's so ridiculous. It's like, yes, you're absolutely right, Dave. Something that they say before this in a room where they're talking softly, where it's like, hey, we should put up all the minorities up. I believe Marty might have mentioned in passing. Right?
Is that what he said?
What was it, Jeff? We were talking about that. It was when Dave wasn't here. That he mentioned the cookout.
Right. Yeah, and they're, you know, I mean, and they probably should be thinking a little bit that way, but this season's just a mess. How could you? You know?
Yeah, you don't worry about that. But I did mention this. People are going to think about it, and then people are going to attempt it like they did in Survivor, and you see how quickly and easily that fell apart. That lasted, what, an episode and change, right? That people like kind of attempted it. And since then, no one has gone close to anything like that. Didn't work in Celebrity Big Brother, right? Doubt it's going to work on this. How's it going to work on this season of Survivor? And this house right now, it's definitely not going to work. Everyone is just too scatterbrained.
I'll tell you what I'm most disappointed about with this week, because presumably Kyle is done tomorrow. He will be.
He's done. He's dead.
It's a unanimous vote tomorrow. Probably
his obituary is already in the Thursday Times.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen Jessica get evicted this week. I've had quite enough of Jessica on this show.
Really?
I don't
Why?
know.
I like them.
I don't like their style. I don't like those glasses. No, those frames are not working for me. Some of these outfits.
It's not standard issue.
But it's more her general demeanor, or their demeanor of.
Why? I like them. I don't know.
I don't like their energy.
I'm a fan of Jessica. I think it's a good player. Good player. I would be friends with this person.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love to pick their brain. I think like Kevin and Jessica are two individuals I would just like to have lunch and just like talk about this game, because it seems like they have like the most interesting take, I feel, out of like everyone. Everyone seems pretty straightforward in terms of their line of thinking, right? Those two are like outside of the box, and I'm glad that both of them got hired, got chosen for this season. More them, less Stephanie's, please.
Right. Okay. And
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
necessarily a fan of like the Stephanies and the
Jacey-Lynne?
the Jacey-Lynnes and these kinds of players. You know, like they're not. I'm not really here for them. But I think you always are going to have them in the mix. Like you can't have Big Brother without them. I don't.
Why?
You could.
Why?
could.
Yeah, like I think you can.
Because I think there's a certain vibe to Big Brother. Big Brother is meant to be kind of like
a
dating
hookup show. Yeah.
Like
Why is it a hookup show?
not a hookup show, but a middle school kind of a vibe. Like still that kind of like that high school sort of clickiness and sort of that young energy sort of carrying into adulthood for some reason.
But why? Like we don't have this problem in Celebrity Big Brother, and it is still an interesting game.
A much older
gameplay.
cast. It's a much older cast than Celebrity Big Brother.
Sure,
So,
older cast too.
Right, but they still play the same game. Like it's still the same basic format.
the way
It's
they
just
think
as
is
interesting.
different. They're motivated differently.
Right, and it's more interesting. Like I will say, like I'd rather watch a bunch of
Is
older
it?
players play than a bunch of younger players. Yes, because younger players are they're influenced by looks and relate. Like literally, like am I gonna have sex later on this summer? You know, like they literally are like.
Hear me out. I think that brings a certain je ne sais quoi to the show. I think that it's the energy of these meatheads, Jeff, who come in here, and then they have to have the girl under their arm, and sort of like the energy and the testosterone and all of that kind of mixing up with each other, like kind of gives us a thing in the Big Brother proper, whether it be Canada or the US.
It gets in the way.
Yeah, I agree. Look, Gino ain't hurting, right, to hook up with people. Right? He isn't hurting. He'll go to a club and he could probably walk away with someone.
He's afraid of the dark, Jaemeel. He needs a nightlight.
That's why there's lights in the club. Right?
Oh, it's
He
pretty
can
dark. I'm
probably
worried for
find
Gino.
Stephanie and Jacey-Lynne there in the club too. Right?
Well,
it doesn't have to
if
be on a
if
game
it's well
show,
lit, maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
right? I'd rather see people competing to win the money as opposed to people trying to up their social platform and standings and trying to hook up with people. Go on Love Island, go on The Bachelor. This is Big Brother time. You need to strategize, plot, and plan, right? That's what I
Okay.
want to see.
Fair enough. I think that it's the question of what is Big Brother sort of meant to be, and you guys have been watching longer than me since the beginning, right? You know, is Big Brother closer to Love Island, or is Big Brother closer to, I don't know, Survivor?
Circle.
I guess.
The
The
circle.
Circle. That doesn't help. That's a more modern take, but I don't know. Like, yeah, are we here for great strategy? Are we here for messiness? Are we here for sort of any kind of great entertainment, no matter what form it comes in?
None of the messiness of this season has happened really because of like relationships. Other than like Gino and Jacey-Lynne, who really don't even seem they're on the same page, which is interesting.
Yeah, we saw no scenes of them tonight.
Yeah, like I just
Because
don't
she
think,
doesn't play this game.
right. Like she was a terrible draft
She's
pick.
not playing. Even look back to last episode.
It was bad.
I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
and then 5 seconds later, it's like, do you forgive me? Sure. What does she do? She goes immediately to daddy's lap and sits down. And I'm like, have some self-respect, man. Jeez.
Yeah, I just don't really see a player
No.
that's self-aware at all in the game and is really just there for a hookup. And these are the type of players like where I'm just like, I don't care. Like even like some of the most famous people, Dave, that have hooked up and showmanced and like those romances have lasted or whatever.
Jeff and Jordan.
Yeah, Jeff and Jordan and
Rachel Riley and
Rachel
Brandon.
Riley and Brandon. They're all
Cody
all-
and Jessica.
Even Cody and Jessica, I'll give you. All of them were at least somewhat aware of how to play the game. You know? But now it's like some of them just get on the show, regardless of it's American or Canadian, where it's like, don't care about the game. I'm literally
McCray and Amanda.
Look how well it played out for both of them.
Right, they played the game though, but yes, McCray stopped playing the game. He just slept.
He
That
slept
was the
and
problem with him.
hung out with Amanda in bed mostly.
Right, and it's just nobody really wants to watch that. I just don't see why. I just don't understand the need for it. What I'd rather is just players that want to play the game and be there to play the game, not to live there. You know what I mean?
More Daniel Reyes, less people trying to hook up.
Yeah, I think they would have a better product.
So, do you think like there should be like maybe no singles allowed policy in a Big Brother cast?
It doesn't. That's not the issue. I want people who are there who want to win the game.
But don't you guys acknowledge that at least part of the audience wants this, right? Because how often do we see in like their intro packages, like, would you be into a showmance? They're like, well, if it happens, it happens, right? Like, there's the casting and production has to want this a certain element for the show, right?
Because they're trying to get a specific demographic by pissing off another part of the demographic.
Right, because one part of the demographic wants strategy, wants intrigue, wants nuance, and the other one's like, ooh, these
want
pretty
good
people.
TV.
I want to see a reindeer throw a box down a conveyor belt, and some like more like the sweeter moments. Maybe.
Are you saying that people who like strategy don't like fun, or like relationships equal fun?
I feel like there's some diametric opposition here.
No, I disagree. I love fun. Fun is cool, but at the same time, people sitting in a bedroom, sucking face and not strategizing or interacting with the cast, that's not fun.
Right. If they cast a whole bunch of super fans, would we get a better product?
No.
So what's the solution?
You get people who want to play a game show and win.
So Jacey-Lynne is maybe one example. Somebody who didn't want to play and didn't want to win. Stephanie,
how much strategizing did Stephanie do?
Not much. Yeah, she was just basically
she didn't
pissed
even
off.
know. Like, she was totally blindsided. We know why Gino was blindsided, because he was sucking face.
Yeah, like
right. So he was sucking face with Jacey-Lynne. What's Stephanie's excuse? Was she sitting there in the room watching? Like, she wasn't out talking to people, trying to.
She was talking to Jacey-Lynne about her sucking face with Gino. Like, that's what she was doing.
What's the strategy in getting a player who's not strategic? Like, what's the purpose of targeting them and getting them out?
I mean,
number for the other side, because she's a lemming for lemming for the actual player on that side that's playing.
But that's more important than getting at the big target first.
You gotta trust that if you're gonna take a player like Stephanie or Jacey-Lynne far in the game, that they're going to do what you say. You know what I mean? And if so that's the only reason to bring the non-targets along, and sometimes you get a Victoria and you pray to God that
a bird doesn't whisk her away.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna wear the booby dress. What?
Like, honestly, like, this is what the content they were going for with that person. Do you want to be known as, hey, I have this plan to try to save me, versus I'm gonna wear the booby dress tonight?
Yes,
the GMs are popping.
Right. Literally what she did. Jameel's right. Like, she dressed for the part but didn't bring her her brain to the game to really like understand the social dynamics. Just being pretty is not going to get you anywhere in a game that's cutthroat like Big Brother. Like, you really, like, even for all those showmances that we mentioned, they all had to play pretty hard to get where they got in the game.
Yeah, because you're a target.
Yeah, you're always a target. You can't just fly under the radar to the win every. That's very rarely going to happen.
Look at Janelle. Janelle is a beauty queen.
Right.
Janelle is like, she got her booby dresses on, but she also came to win a game show.
Yeah.
Right. Who's another example? Rachel Riley, maybe?
Sure, you can go Rachel Riley. Right. Maybe. And she plays, even though technically she isn't, she plays the bimbo card pretty well, right? The bimbo harp pretty well. She
does.
Comes across as it, but she's a gamer too.
I also think with Rachel, like, she didn't show up there to find a relationship. She just happened to connect with Brendan. Like, you know, I think they literally ended up getting married and having kids. Like, sometimes it's just like you were saying,
organically happens.
it's organically right moment, right time. But like some of them just like Jacey-Lynne showed up looking for a relationship or looking for a showmance, you
Right.
know?
But that goes back even to the first season I watched, which was 15, right?
Oh, yeah.
15. Like that's always been part of kind of the dynamic of every season, I think.
It happens, yes, but at the same time, like it just, I respect it more when, like, what was it, Memphis and Christmas, or was those two?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Where
that didn't like happen until almost the game was over. Like sometimes,
but
like
it
you
just
get like
happens that way.
It
you get a
just happens.
Nicole Franzel and Victor who were never showmans on the show. They just
Right.
happened to know each other after the fact, right?
Right. You know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know, like I prefer if they did like at least one season. Give us everyone's over 35 years old.
Remember when Dimitri and Dimitri and
Come
what's her
on.
name?
Come on.
You know, help me
Netta.
out. It's late.
Netta.
Netta? Not
Wasn't
Netta.
it? Yeah, Dimitri betrayed Netta. at the
No,
end.
we just had the proposal on the show. Who am I thinking of?
Oh, Dimitri and was it Ika?
Ika. Yeah, sorry. I was like having a complete brain fart. Ika and Dimitri, like they had to remember, like we met here in the Big Brother house. We found true love. It's like The Bachelor a bit. And I guess what I'm getting at in this whole like line of conversation is like I think that the showmances and love and all this kind of like The Bachelor and Love Island. I think it's like part of that is in the DNA of the show at its core, in my opinion, just in the eras I've been watching it, because I'm not saying it's the whole show. I'm just saying it's in the DNA. It's an ancestor. It's a relative. A trait comes out sometimes, and it's part of.
I think it's part of the DNA organically. This manufactured, we're gonna put hot young singles, right, as their focus, a part of the hiring casting process is, I think, a detriment to the show and not necessarily something that is additional. If you put interesting people together, they might hook up, right? If you try every single year to hook people up, and people do kind of thing, it becomes less special. It does.
So if you were talking to their casting director, what would you say? Just like, don't cast for people.
One, why didn't you cast me before?
Yeah.
That's one, right? And then two, please pick people that want to play the game. Please.
No Jacey-Lynne, no Stephanie. Is there anybody else in the house you put in that category?
I
Betty
Betty
wants to play.
Betty wants to play?
Betty wants to play, doesn't know how.
Doesn't know how.
And then I find Summer is playing, but it's not enjoyable to watch. I find, at least she's playing.
Some people
Are you
say
in on
she is
Summer,
the-
Jaemeel?
Some people say that she is the playing the best game.
Yeah, I know she's on the show a lot and playing the game on the show, but I just don't know if it's good.
Are you finding her charismatic?
No.
Lord,
Does she have an
The hot
inflection
mess.
in the way she speaks?
she does.
Yes.
She
What is that
does.
exactly?
Because I'm
it's-
Summer, and I run that.
She's
I
almost like
run-
a slam poet, like all the time,
Yes.
right? The way she
But not as
moves
fun.
very.
But
Who
not
was
as
that
fun.
girl that was on the first season with Cochran and Survivor? That was like the poetic talker or whatever. Kind of reminds me of her. I forget her name.
That's a
but-
deep cut. I don't know if
a
I can
deep
pull that
cut.
one.
I can
I
pull
can
it
pull
out.
that one out, but yeah, like it's just like Summer. I don't know. Like I think I would either love her or hate her in real life. Like I
Oh,
can't
you would
quite.
hate her, Dave. I know you. You would hate her.
I don't
You'd
think
be
she would like me.
Summer's talking to me, and I don't appreciate the way she's talking to me because she's just putting so much inflection, and it's so busy in terms of the way she's talking. Can we just talk like a mammal, like a normal being?
Right.
Yeah, like here's a clip.
He used his big, beautiful brain and he did what he needed to do.
And he did what he
What he
needed
needed
to
to
do.
It's like it's a very musical kind of pattern to the way she speaks. It's more a cadence and how she
I
delivers.
would think that she's
things.
Trini, but she's not. I think she's Jamaican.
Her name was Semhar, guys. I don't know if you guys remember Semhar.
Oh yes, I remember. Oh wait, no, I don't remember Sam.
Slam poet.
Slam poet, She went
Yeah.
went home first. Ozzy and
Summer went
Cockroach.
last overall in our draft, right? So if she ends up winning, Sean got a steal because it was basically assigned to him in the draft. After
Who's second
Helena,
last? Second last.
Helena second last. Now, Helena non-existent on the show, but as far as I understand, like this edit tonight was not necessarily kind to her because she was not given any kind of credit in terms of like, Gino eventually turning on this alliance or not his alliance with Kyle, or kind of saying, okay, I will finally put up Kyle as the replacement now that Marty's coming down. We saw that it was more, I guess, Summer and more of the house was kind of talking to him. Who else with Jeff was involved in kind of convincing Gino to put up Kyle?
Helena was a bit, but it was pretty much Marty, I think, that kind of seals the deal. That conversation
Marty,
with Marty.
it was a lot of these French conversations where he was like, "You should, it was a lot of respect in French. You should,
we
put
should
him up,
talk a little bit in French, a little bit in English, and then we get to the end of the sentence, and you find out that I'm going to throw Kyle under the bus, and I'm not a big fan of Kyle. I think what he did was messy, but Marty like really had to do nothing, and he completely like shot himself in both feet. And now he can't walk, and he's like,
and he's mad at Gino about it.
He's mad at Gino about it, and I'm just like, Marty, like.
Take some responsibility.
Take some responsibility for shooting yourself in both feet.
But is this Marty and Josh alliance a real thing? Like, how much do we buy into
Josh
that?
seems to think it is. I don't know if Marty really buys it.
No, I think Marty and Josh are a thing.
And we like that as a pair. Do we think that two can go far?
What do you mean we like that? I didn't say I didn't
panel.
co-sign
Do we
this.
like that?
I like it. All right. I mean, I like it because I have Marty.
Yeah, you're cheering for Marty. I think Marty and Josh is an interesting duo.
They are.
Right? Like there's 15 years between them, but they seem to have a more maturity a little bit together. Like kind
Josh
of
in general seems extremely mature.
Yeah. He's a pediatric, he's a resident. He's got everything under control. But he likes to party too. And yeah, like a lot of people I think just look to Josh as sort of one of the elder and one of the more mature people. I think we're seeing that Marty is actually more hot-headed than despite being the oldest person in the house. He's not necessarily like the wise old man in the house.
He's passionate.
He's passionate. It's the French. It's the French blood. You can't do anything about it. Because like otherwise, and then Kevin is the other one I think we could maybe touch on tonight as well. Because Kevin, not in this episode a lot. He was more there just talking to Marty, and then he was kind of happy about the result of this nomination. This is for him. Anytime he's not on the block, I think Kevin's happy. He's not too. He doesn't seem to be too worried about Jess.
He shouldn't be happy about this situation at all, because he was doing some serious business with all this chaos happening. Like this was like, as he mentioned, chaos is a ladder, and he was certainly using it.
Is Kevin the little finger of this house?
Yes, he is. Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, so in this Game of Thrones reference or a metaphor, who's who? Who's Jon Snow? No, wait. Who would be
who's Baratheon? What's his name? King Baratheon? Kyle.
So Kyle was what's his Jeff? Who's the Baratheon? You know what I mean? Robert Baratheon.
Robert Baratheon.
Kyle was Robert Baratheon, but now
and Gino Stannis. No, Gino is
Gino might be Ned Stark.
He's Ned Stark.
That means Jacey-Lynne's Catelyn.
Would make sense.
Stark? Yeah, it makes sense. That tracks. And then who's Tyrion? I don't know. Okay.
Tyrion's Kevin.
No, but then he's
Littlefinger.
Oh yeah,
he's
he might
both?
be. Yeah, he might be Littlefinger. Yeah,
Betty's Tyrion.
Betty's Tyrion. That's better.
No, wait. So it has to be worse. So no, like Tyrion at least had his head on his shoulder.
I feel like Tynesha and Summer are Jamie and Cersei for some reason,
Or they're sand snakes.
the sand snakes from Dorne.
From Dorne.
We hope we're keeping you listening here with these riveting Game of Thrones references. We hope you like Game of Thrones.
Remember when Game of Thrones was a thing?
Remember that?
Remember before the last season, it was good.
It was going pretty well for most of it, and then they did not stick the landing. Let's just say that much. Spoilers.
I'm surprised they just don't redo the last season.
They might be advantageous for HBO to do so, just to like reclaim some.
In this age of Snyder cuts, why not just redo it?
Yeah, do it. The book's coming out apparently. So
sure, Jan.
Right.
That book's never coming out.
It's coming out in 2052.
When he's dead, I think it comes out.
He should say it. He's like, when I die, this book will be released. Right? I already have it on a secure site. The moment that I am brain dead, it will automatically unlock and be released. So everyone's just kind of like, die. He's like, oh, heart attack. Oh no, it isn't. I'm just joking. They're like,
While we're on the topic, I was watching this other thing on Funny or Die today. It was Tig Notaro from Discovery.
Yeah,
just like Michael Chan, and she was apparently Tig Notaro doesn't know anything about pop culture, and Lena Headey comes out, and she's like, so
I love her talk show. Yeah,
the game is that Tig Notaro has to kind of figure out who she's speaking to, and she had no idea who Lena Headey was. She didn't know what Game of Thrones was. She didn't even know where Lena was from. She's like, oh, you're British, okay. Just seeing her like piece this all together, and they threw a bunch of hints and things they were trying to like eventually get to. That she was on the Game of Thrones show. Check it out.
She actually has like it was like a talk show, online talk show, where she has like multiple episodes about that.
Tig Notaro is my favorite part of Star Trek Discovery, except for Michael Chan, of course. Tig Notaro as a Jet Reno on that show is great.
Not Admiral Vance.
No, I'm a bigger Jet Reno stan than I'm an Admiral Vance stan.
Okay,
for sure.
Commander
Jet Reno. She's got the best zingers in the show. I got so many. I'll pick something random and I bet you will be funny. Reno,
Spoiler.
Reno.
Triple brewed Roctacino. Hot as hell. Hold the nutmeg.
That's right. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Like the lady that I am.
That's right, Tig Notaro. Anyway, get us back on track, Jaemeel.
Right.
Kyle's gone.
Kyle's gone.
Rest in peace, Kyle.
Yeah, there's no way he's not gone. They're not going to vote at Jess.
And then what? Looking ahead to week 5, what do we think is maybe a good HOH that we would like to see happen here next? Is there any good options, Jaemeel?
This is like we will see where the house falls. They're going to advertise it. We're going to see where the house falls when new HOH. But who will it be? And it's like you don't know. Like the house hasn't settled yet, right? If you put Kyle up immediately, the house could have settled and had an easy week, but it's still in flux. So we're going to see. Because
I would love to see
there's no
a
side
Kevin.
of the house.
I would like to see a Kevin HOH, but maybe not now. Maybe because the sides are not clearly defined.
I'd like to see like one of them girls win, like Helena or like Summer or just something like that, where those people have to make a decision. Right now, they're just riding the wave, and they're.
We all hate Kyle. That's what the wave they're riding right now. But when Kyle is gone after tomorrow, then who's next?
Well, it all depends who wins, and even whoever wins, they're going to have to actually really think about, who do I want out? Like nothing is clear cut in the house. It's a big, like the thing tonight where they spin the wheel to find out who plays the veto. That's a great metaphor for the entire house right now, because whoever wins HOH, it's like, might as well spin the wheel to see who I want to put up on the block, because that's kind of how it is.
They should have an advertisement of like them spinning a wheel, and it's like, who will be the next HOH? And it changes from that wheel into like a game of was it craps, where you just see like the ball land and roulette, and you're like, where is it gonna land? Is it gonna land on Gino, who's gonna possibly go, not Gino, but like Jacey-Lynne, who's gonna go after blah blah blah, or is it gonna fall into Kevin, who's a wild card? And right, we'll find out, and we just see it bounce, and it's like on Big Brother Canada Thursday,
Monday.
Well, let's see. Are they going to do the HOH? They've been doing live HOHs for the last while.
We've known the
every week.
HOH for all 4 weeks, I think, so far, right? Who it is. So I don't think that, because I think it's such a gap between Thursday and Monday. I don't know if they want to keep us waiting that long just to even know where the power is going for the following week. But
This
they might.
is a perfect week for to have an endurance comp
Yeah,
because everything is so unsettled. The only way for you to be safe is for you to be HOH.
Yeah, but I hate endurance comps because that's where you get like weird deals being made up there and things like that. I would rather.
Who's going to keep a deal in this house?
I don't know, but then I hate those deals. Like just with like, remember when Marty was like, who did he? Steph. Remember? He's like, I made a deal with Steph and I want to put it up, but I didn't put it up. And okay, Marty.
She didn't make that deal. He made that deal.
I know, but he was obsessed with the deal. Like after that, and like
that's Marty's issue.
Marty's got lots of issues. Like
he does.
Jeff, I'm cheering for him too, but he's messy as well.
He's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know if he's long for this.
I think Gino will do better than Marty.
Yes, I agree.
I'm very happy with my Gino pick right now. I think this turned out a lot better than I was expecting. I thought he would just be a meathead alpha kind of guy, and he kind of is, but he's also more nuanced than I was expecting. Very much so.
I need a Moose HOH.
He was my second pick. I took Tanisha with my first pick. Gino was taken 10th.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. So we'll come back tomorrow night, I think, to talk about the finale, the finale of week 4, I guess, and Kyle's funeral. I think we got to invite Kyle here on the podcast, and we got to because he is a podcaster. So I feel like he's he might be
good
willing
luck.
to
Good luck with that.
I'm going to
he
try.
watches some episodes and he's like, no,
these guys love me. These guys are Kyle stands. Well, we're not necessarily against Kyle.
There's a Kyle. I picked you, man. I picked you.
I think this season, like he went for a move to get Moose out. He went about it the wrong way, and then Marty completely finished burying him.
Yeah.
So I think it's in some ways self-inflicted, but in other ways kind of just sad, as far as like a big brother fate, because I think he could have done so much better had he just like shut his mouth and made it simple. Same thing with Marty. Just like stop. You're overplaying a little too much. If I was a player. As an audience member, that's exactly what I want to watch. And producers cast these type of people for a reason because they know that this is what they want.
Yeah.
I think that Kyle's chaotic HOH in week 2, I think it's going to be like the legacy of the whole season. I think instead of getting this boring sort of methodical big alliance, gets out the minority, like low hanging fruits, like the Bettys and this kind of thing. We're not getting that right away. Instead, we had this whole shake up here. We had some big swings. And so we'll see what's next if it gets back to sort of more of a traditional game, but we're that much closer now to jury, so that's going to affect things. And you got to think about the numbers and who's going to vote for you at the end, and who's been betrayed by who called who a backstabber or not. So lots to break down. Hopefully we'll get to know who the next HOH is for tomorrow night as well. Moose.
Well, look who's on the block now.
Kyle.
Lord.
Yeah.
Just like dude, it's so unfitting. Don't gloat like that.
No, yeah, there's so much like even like Marty winning the veto and his gloating, we're like, oh, he just went down a notch. You know, because me and Amanda just finished saying how much we liked Marty, and then he gloats in the DR. I'm just like, oh.
I didn't like Marty tonight in his like speech. He's like my daughter says, it sucks to suck. Like whatever. Marty.
Yeah. Well, I was like, what's that even mean? That wasn't his daughter; it was his wife.
Marty is just very like gotta lash out at you because he feels attacked. Like if he ever actually is like super targeted by somebody, I don't think he's gonna handle it too well.
Nope.
Gino was like pretty soft about it, like in some ways. Like I agree that what he said was not completely soft, but it was
because Gino's an actual alpha.
Yeah, he is.
He doesn't feel like he needs to posturize or anything like some people act tough.
He's giving Moose goosebumps. Oh, wait, I don't have the clip. What happened to my clip?
Give me a chance.
Gino, you're giving me goosebumps, buddy.
Gino, you're giving me goosebumps.
Oh, Lord.
Well, you're not giving me moose bumps. I'm not sure what that means. Okay. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. Also, check out everything else we do here on Superman Brothers Podcasting. We talk about Marvel stuff. We talk about other shows like Survivor. Like tonight, we were talking about Survivor 42, episode 3, I think. Check out our different playlists here on the channel. We got lots of different content, Netflix series, Ozark, The Serpent, Tiger King, different things you can listen to us ramble on about, Westworld, who knows, all kinds of different great things. We also have Trivial Debates, a monthly show. We argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. Our next episode coming up this Sunday, March 27th, 2022 at 10 a.m. Eastern. We got Max Duda hosting, Jaemeel Robinson, Jody Simpson, and Worf, son of Moog, competing. Yes, Worf, son of Moog from Star Trek. That's right.
Pineapple will be the safe word.
Pineapple will be the safe word for he's a jolly good fellow. We got some great debates, including what's the hardest word to say in the English language. We're going to find out. I think that's going to be maybe the most interesting round to come. So check that out Sunday live. You can listen to that in real time. Also check out Live Long and Podcast, our Star Trek themed channel where we talk about Star Trek all the times. Monday nights, Star Trek Enterprise rewatch, going through all those episodes in order. Likewise, over on Tuesday nights, Star Trek Deep Space Nine at 9ish. We've been at that for 2 years, going through each episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine one by one, talking about it, analyzing it, rating it. Check that out every Tuesday night with Jeff Mader and the crew over there. And then we're talking about the newest episode of Star Trek often on Thursdays because that's when Paramount and CBS and all of them put out the new episode. Tomorrow, Thursday, will be Star Trek Picard. We'll be talking about the newest episode over there, episode 4 of season 2. As well, we just wrapped up our coverage of Star Trek Discovery season 4. We did a podcast on each episode over there with Discovery's own Michael Chan, who often does Star Trek radio theater with us here on over on Live Long and Podcast. Speaking of which, we have a new episode coming up for that. We're going to be doing Darmok on Saturday, April 9th. We'll do the live recording, which will then get put down, edited down into like an audio drama format podcast, fiction podcast you can listen to with narrations and everything else. We'll be doing that one with Davin Scalhorn, my cousin and yours. He'll be playing Jean-Luc Picard alongside Anne Woodward's Captain Dathan, as he'll be doing Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. We've got Jeff Mader here playing Lieutenant Commander Jody LaFlorge. I'll be playing Dr. Crusher and Robin Leffer. And we got like a bunch of our other friends playing a whole bunch of different roles in this, including Discovery's own Michael Chan as Lieutenant Worf, who's also going to be on Trivial Debates. So there's lots going on. But this is more of a portrayal. And then also check out our other friends podcast, Michael Chan and Alex Blackburn. They have the Hellbound podcast, a horror podcast they do every Wednesday. We have Davin Scalhorn. He's got Locutors of Trek, his Star Trek themed channel, where he does debates and writers' room pitches and different segments. Plus, he has X-Men, the animated series, X-Rated. And lastly, my son, Eamon Mader, under his alias of Sam Jerka, does Let's Talk About Fighting Games. They talk about Street Fighter. They talk about Baiku. They talk about BBCAN, Mega Man, I don't know, all kinds of stuff like that. Like it's all over there. That's right, Jaemeel. He's got the Street Fighter, right? That logo is?
Street Fighter 4, yes.
Street Fighter 4. I'm more of a Street Fighter 2 guy.
Street Fighter 6 is coming out.
I'm dating myself. Anyway, so we're gonna head out here tonight on the Big Brother Canada 10, episode 10, the week 4 veto. Thanks for being with us, and I need to get some Arissa.
Or we can go it a different way because it's been long enough.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, ready.